All right, hello. This is for those of you that missed our meeting today, or for those of you that just wanted a little bit of a review in order to help you finish the assignment. So the first thing that you need to do is download Brad's Baseball Shop into Notability. You can find it in Math folder under the Division folder, and then it will say Brad's Baseball Shop. It should be the only one in there right now. And it should look a little bit like this. Okay. You're going to be recording as we go, so you should have it ready in Notability so that you can swipe over and do these things as we go. With that, let's get started. All right, first we're just going to take a look. In order for this to make sense while we are going, we need to review a few terms. This is showing you what a row is, talking about going across. That is a row, and this is a column, up and down. So this particular array has 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and it has 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to be needing rows and columns when we are doing our assignment today. So Brad's online baseball business is doing so well that he and his sister Bethany have decided to set up a little shop where people can actually walk in, see some of the things Brad sells, and buy them right on the spot. So be thinking to yourself, how might rows and columns be part of a store plan? Let's find out. All right, for this next part, I want you guys to open up your Pattern Shapes app. It looks like this. Everybody downloaded it at the beginning of the year, and we're going to be using just the squares today because we're going to be finding the area of some things. So open that up if you don't already have it open. We're kind of going to have to toggle back and forth between Pattern Shapes, your Notability sheet that you have open, and this video. So hopefully you guys can be tech savvy. Otherwise, just pause things before you go to the next app that you need to use. So our first problem looks like this. When you walk in, the first thing you'll see will be a rack with some of Brad's best championship balls displayed. There will be 4 rows on the rack with 6 balls in each row. How many balls in all? So you guys can either pause the video to make this in your Pattern Shapes app. Make 4 rows with 6 balls in each row. How many balls in all? All right, hopefully you finished that. Here is my finished product. Hopefully yours looked a little something like this. It had 4 rows right here with 6 balls in every single row. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 balls in each row. So in this particular one, each of these is a row of 6. There are 6 baseballs in each row. All right. So how many baseballs are there in all? Hopefully you guys figured that out already when it asked up here. And hopefully you found that in all there were 24 baseballs. Now I want to know, what equation would we write to represent 4 rows with 6 baseballs in each row when our total is 24? How could we write that equation? Yeah, we could write 4 rows times 6 balls in each row, and we know that that would equal 24. So if you guys haven't already, you can pause this video, and I want you guys to make sure that you guys write this on Brad's Baseball Shop. It's a grid for you, so you can actually count down 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make that shape, and you should have these labels for the 4 rows. 4 times 6 equals 24. All right, let's go to the next problem, and you guys are going to be building this one as well. On another rack, they'll have 6 columns of baseball caps. There will be 4 caps in each column. How many baseball caps in all? So you guys can pause. You can go build it in your pattern shapes and be ready to share how many caps in all. All right, wait a second. So I heard somebody say from their homes. Isn't that the same thing? Yes, technically, it looks very similar. We know that they'll have 6 columns of baseball caps, and there's going to be 4 caps in each column. It looks pretty much exactly the same as this problem. It's got 4 rows, 6 columns. So we know how many in all? 24. But this time, the difference is we're talking about columns of caps first, and then how many caps will be in each column. So this time, instead of talking about rows and how many hats were in each row, or baseballs were in each row, we're talking about 6 columns and how many hats were in each column. So we're being a little bit picky on this time, and we are talking specifically about 6 columns with 4 caps in each column. So how would we write this equation if we're talking about 6 columns of 4 caps? Yeah, we would write 6 first. 6 times 4 equals 24. Here we wrote 4 times 6. Here's 6 times 4. I hear some of you saying, Miss Williams, why in the world does it matter? Really, it doesn't technically matter. 4 times 6, we know, is the same as 6 times 4. But if you want to be more specific to what the question is asking, then you would write it like the question tells you. All right, so if you didn't already, draw this out on your sheet. You should have 4 by 6, but this time emphasizing the columns should be circled instead of the rows. Okay? All right. And we are going to go to our next problem, and there's going to be similarities to this, but we're going to think about it a little bit differently this time. So, Brad has a collection of 24 baseball cards signed by some of the most famous players in Major League Baseball. He's going to put them in a glass case in 4 equal rows. How many cards will be in each row? Now, I hear some of you saying, we're dealing with the same numbers as before. He's saying there's going to be 24 in all. Isn't that what we heard at the beginning? 24 baseball cards in all. And he's going to be organizing them in 4 equal rows. Oops. Just like this. So we're trying to figure out how many cards will be in each row. This is a very similar problem to our first one because we knew there were 4 rows, and how many baseballs were in each row? 6. So we know that there's going to have to be 6 baseballs. There's going to have to be 6 cards in each row in order for there to be 24 total. So really, the type of problem that we just did is a division problem. So we would write 24 divided by 4 equals 6 is what we're asking, because we started with 4 rows, and then we had to find out how many could go in each row, and we found out that it was 6. So if you haven't already, you should be writing this down with the picture that I drew on your Brad's Baseball Shop sheet. emphasizing that we're talking about rows and that this is actually a division problem down here because we knew there was 24 and we split it up into 4 equal rows. All right, now our last problem then, you probably guessed it, Bethany has just unpacked 24 new baseball shirts and is laying them out in columns of 6 so she can take a good look at them. How many columns can she make? Oh, this is obviously a typo. We know that she did it in 6 columns, so it should be asking how many rows can she make? All right. So we're familiar with this equation, with these numbers. We know that there's 24 in all. And if she has 6 columns, how many rows of shirts can she make? So again, this time we are emphasizing columns and we're finding how many rows of shirts can she make if there are 6 columns. So here emphasizing 6 columns and we find that she can make 4 rows of shirts. All right, so what would our equation, look like for this one? Yeah, we started with 24 and we divided those shirts into 6 columns of shirts. And we found out that 4 shirts could be in each column, or that there would be 4 rows of shirts. So if you didn't already write this down, please write this down on your Brad's Baseball Shop where you're going to use the grid paper and make sure you're emphasizing, sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Make sure that you're emphasizing that this time we were dividing them into columns. Okay? All right, your last problem then on that sheet is they gave you a division problem that looks like this. 42 divided by 3. Now you can decide how you want to figure this out. If I were you, I would use those squares in your pattern shapes app and find out how many would I have to put, sorry, this isn't a great drawing, how many would fit in each of these rows if I'm dividing it into 1, 2, 3 rows. How many would have to be in each row? This isn't a great drawing, but hopefully you're understanding the idea that I'm talking about. Okay, if you don't want to do it in the pattern blocks, you can also use the grid that is already on this piece of paper. You can count out 3 rows because 3 columns won't fit. So that's why I say count out 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and then find out maybe by shading them in or coloring them how 42 divided by 3, how many cubes can you fit into each column then? All right. So that is your assignment for today. You should have everything filled out on Brad's Baseball Shop and turn it into Schoology. You guys are awesome. Have a great day. Bye.